Hey guys, what's up? So this is kind of weird. So, okay, so you see this hotel in the background. Okay, so it's New Year's Eve right now. It's literally, I think it's 10 minutes before midnight. Okay, so I was at this party in this hotel, and I decided to heck with these people and their drunken debauchery. I'm gonna take a little walk. So I crossed the street, cut through a construction site, and there's a library. And I'm walking up on it right now, by the way. And so I decided to peek in the dumpsters. And lo and behold, what of course did I find but thousands and thousands of books. So I thought it'd be fun to spend this video together. So I'm coming up on it now. Check this out. Okay, so here's what I just found. Lots and lots of books. So that'd be fun to spend midnight on New Year's Eve with you guys dumpster diving for books. How does that sound? Because this hotel over here, where all the cool people are, I want nothing to do with that. So let's see what we got here. And so I was over here a second ago, and I just barely stuck my head in, so I really haven't gone through these at all. And I don't have my scanner. I didn't even have my phone on me at the time. So we're just going to kind of do some freestyle visual sourcing, and I'll look these up later and give you guys the final tally if I find anything interesting at all. Old textbook, I'm not seeing a whole lot. So far most of these belong in the dumpster. I actually read this book. I was like 18. It's all about why you shouldn't eat sugar. Okay, so fun fact, I won't give you any context, but this guy's brother, I met this guy's brother. What is his name? Jerry Jenkins. I forget what his brother's name was, but they come from a famous family of televangelists. Anyway, what do we got here? Okay, this actually looks good. There's no book. This cover looks good, but moving on. So you guys look, nobody ever accused me of being insane. So it is almost, I don't even know if you can hear the fireworks in the background. We're coming up on probably 5 minutes to midnight, and I'm just hanging out with you guys. Okay, so good book, not worth anything anymore, but I do like the tipping point. Tao of Physics is on my mom's bookshelf, which means it's not cool, which means I will not read it. Interesting. What is this? Okay, so this looks like the kind of book, so I'm not even clear what I'm looking at. Beaton's Book of Household Management. So I know nothing about this except that it looks very niche, and I'm going to look this up later. So this is going in the maybe pile. Handmade Houses. Okay, so this is the kind of book I like to find in a dumpster. A little bit weird. There's some potential there, so we'll look that up later. By the way, you can't tell from the context here, but this area looks a little dicey. So I'm going to keep my eyes peeled for trouble. So okay, there could be some potential here. Criminology, 6th edition. I'm gonna put that in the pile to look up later. So look, you guys, I don't know what you're doing right now. You're not gonna be watching this on New Year's because this is not a live stream, but whatever you're doing right now, or whatever you're doing at the stroke of midnight on New Year's Eve, it's probably not as weird as this. Okay, let's move on over here. So, okay, this is interesting. Some kind of genealogy book from Boone County, West Virginia. It looks self-published, actually stapled together from the Boone County Geological Society. There could be some potential here. So that's going to go in the lookup pile for later. Looks like there's a whole collection of these genealogy books from this, what I'm presuming is a small county in West Virginia. So we're going to look these up later. Again, guaranteed to have small demand, but potentially some value. So look, most people at this particular moment, can you hear the fireworks in the background? Most of the people at this particular moment are losing money. This night would be go on the liability column on the profit and loss statement or the balance sheet. But for us, we are making money. Not seeing much here. Okay, World Almanac. Sorry, I keep pausing to look around because I hear sounds. Okay, the irony of Vietnam, the system worked. Okay, could be interesting. Brookings Institution. Let's go in the lookup pile. Look, you guys, this video is as raw as it gets. This is totally improv. Lots of religious books. Challenging the Christian Right from the Heart of Gospel. There could be profit there. Put that in the pile. And again, just tons of books from the brother of this guy that I met once. In fact, most of what I'm seeing here is religious, which is certainly not a bad thing or an unprofitable thing. It's just a fact. Okay, so what is this? Winter Simulation Conference Proceedings. Okay, this could be good. This looks sufficiently weird, which you've heard me say it a million times, but that is the number one trait you're looking for when you're trying to determine profit without scanning anything. So Winter Simulation Conference Board Director. Okay, so this could be good. We're going to put that aside. We're going to look that up. And I don't know, I haven't really given you much context here, but there's tons of these. So there's really no reason to confine ourselves to one bin. And I think this is the first one I looked in off camera. Lots of grade school textbooks, which can be good, but if you're talking about pre-ISBN era, probably not. Okay, now we're in business here. Pearson, if I'm allowed to sell this, has a barcode. We're definitely looking that up later. The real question is not, am I going to make at least a little bit of money tonight? The real question is, will I get arrested before I'm able to do so? Oh, Barnes & Noble Classic. Star Trek. Some of you might be screaming at the camera right now. I'm going to leave this behind, but no, let's look it up. I would feel... I'm guessing 99.9% chance that is not a valuable book, but we're going to give it a shot. Okay, you guys, I think it might be midnight. I can't see the clock on my phone, but I'm hearing lots of fireworks. What's this? Okay, this could be good. It appears to be a biography of a sports reporter in Alabama. That's sufficiently niche, so we're gonna put that on the pile. All right, you guys, I'm hearing fireworks more than usual. I think it's 2024, so I just want to welcome you to 2024 with me. Thank you for sharing this with me here in a dumpster. There's no place I'd rather spend it than with you guys in the dumpster. Vietnam, Anthology and Guide to Television History. I'm going to pass on it just because the publisher is one that we all know. Okay, I think it is now officially midnight. It's kind of weird to me. I don't know if you can see. There's people in their rooms watching TV, which, like, if I was in a hotel room, I would at least go to the lobby or something at midnight. I wouldn't just be watching TV. But who am I to talk? I'm in a dumpster with you. How the Far East Was Lost, American Policy and the Creation of Communist China, 1941-1949. This is the kind of book we're looking for, you guys. I'm trying to look for the publisher. I don't even recognize the publisher. That's a good sign. Okay, going on the pile. So I'm not going to carry these back to my car. I'm going to drive up and I'm going to foist them into my trunk, heist style. Okay, so some of these we looked at. You guys see that? That's how you know I'm not faking this video, you guys. You thought this really wasn't New Year's Eve. It is actually midnight. It is now 2024. All right, you guys. This is Peter Valley. Personally welcome you to 2024. Live from the dumpster. Okay. Back to business. Okay, you guys, let's wrap this up. It's freezing here. I'm going to grab my car, pull up. I'm going to shovel these in. With any luck, we've got, at least $10 or $20 worth of profit here. And that concludes New Year's 2023/24 live from the dumpster. This is Peter Valley signing off. Thank you guys for sharing this with me. And I will follow up at the end of this video with the full tally of our potential profits. Okay, so I'm back in my hotel room. If I didn't mention, I am traveling right now. And so let's take stock and figure out what the yield was from a mini midnight dumpster diving excursion. So let me see if I can get the camera. So we got about 15 books here. And sorry, this is going to be a really low production value video. And what I'm going to do is just look up every book one by one and figure out, did we actually make any money during this completely ridiculous New Year's Eve dumpster diving mission? Okay. And last thing I'll say before we dive in, I am not hopeful there is anything here of value. I haven't looked these up yet. We're doing this in real time together. But there was no single book that I pulled out of the trash and I was like, oh yeah, this is definitely a winner. There's probably a 75% chance we have no value here, but I could be wrong. So let's take the first book right off the top. This is Beaton's Book of Household Management. I wasn't too excited about this one. It appears to be a mainstream publisher. I don't recognize them, but it just looks mainstream. Probably one edition of many, it appears, and it's pre-barcode. And nothing about this made me think, heck yes, but let's just take a look. And I kind of cheat a little bit because it doesn't have a barcode, so what I have to do is I went and grabbed the ASIN off camera. So let's drop that in, see what we got. Okay, the rank is 3 million, could be worse. Yeah, we actually have a little bit of value here. So the rank's not too bad. It looks like the profit after all FBA fees, if we match the lowest merchant fulfilled price, which I intend to do, it has my buy cost in here at $1, but it was actually 0, of course. So it's actually going to be just under $5 profit for this book. Hey, we're off to an awesome start. I was not hopeful for this book, but we have a mini winner. Nothing to get too thrilled about, but $5 is $5. That's my latte tomorrow. Okay, next on the pile, this is the hardcover book about the Alabama sports broadcaster. I'm moderately hopeful for this one and has no barcode. So again, I had to kind of go off camera, grab the ISBN. I promise I didn't cheat and look at the price. So we're going to discover this together. So I got to admit, I'm very surprised. So a rank of about 500,000, very, very decent. I don't know what the average is. We're not getting too deep in the analysis here. I'm just trying to go rapid fire. Lowest price, $14.59, which brings our profit with the buy cost being 0 to $5.50. So we got a couple wins so far. I'm actually really surprised at how well this is going. All right, next up, a book called Getting on Message. Challenging the Christian right from the heart of the gospel. Looked just weird enough, even though it's a religious book, which and Christian books tend to not get me too excited, but just weird enough that it grabbed my attention. It's free, so we can take some chances here. Okay, so this could go a couple different ways. There's multiple, countless different pricing strategies out there. My personal pricing strategy, or part of it, is that when the rank gets into the millions, generally I am not competing with other FBA offers. I'm only competing with merchant fulfilled offers. So I'm looking at this here. The lowest FBA prices are almost $12, which would bring us about $4.50 in profit. However, the rank's 3.6 million. So I'm looking at this thinking, I'm actually not competing with FBA. I'm competing with merchant fulfilled, in which case, let's just click this just for fun. $4.94 merchant fulfilled price as an FBA seller will get us a negative $2.38 profit. So I'm going to go ahead and pass on this one. I understand other people would consider this to be a book they would list, especially if they got it for free. Me, I'm going to keep this out of my inventory. It's gone. I don't ever want to see it again. Moving on. All right, next up, this Star Trek hardcover novel. Now, my thought with this one is maybe, possibly, in some remote scenario, this might actually be worth money. I know that Star Trek fans are very, very rabid. They're very passionate. That's a very good thing. So maybe this is like some of the Star Wars books you see out there. Occasionally there's a random one is out of print or for whatever reason is worth significant money. So that's my thought here. Not that normally I would grab any random hardcover fiction novel and think that there's a remote chance it might be worth money, because the chances are beyond remote when it comes to hardcover fiction. But I grabbed this because it's Star Trek. So yeah, as expected, the rank's not bad. The rank's 1 million. Lowest merchant fulfilled $5.23. Lowest FBA $8. No profit at either of those price points. I would do FBA if I was going to list this, but again, $8 doesn't leave us with any positive profit. So let's see what the second lowest FBA offer is. Now, because Amazon's API is a little bit weird, we can't always see it in Scan Lister here, so we have to go over here. I will say, before we reveal what the second lowest FBA price is, if the second lowest FBA allows room for profit, based on the rank, I will list it the second lowest. In other words, I'll bypass the first. Even though the rank's not great, it's not bad either. So let's see what the second lowest FBA is. And it's also $8. And the third one's $8.79 and the fourth one's $9. Okay, so there's just no way to profit from this book. There's no scenario where this is going to be worth money. So Star Trek, I beam you up to the dumpster. So now that brings us to a weird one. I've really not even, in fact, you've probably read more of this cover than I have at this point. I grabbed it because it looked weird and it looks like a book that is not going to be easy to replace if someone wants it. So this is the, I'm just reading this for the first time ever. 1999 Winter Simulation Conference Proceedings, titled Simulation: A Bridge to the Future. Okay, I still don't know what this is. What is a Winter Simulation Conference? What is the simulation they're referring to? Is it this reality that we live in? Is it some sort of a video game reference or software? I don't know. I don't even care. Are you guys ready? Drum roll. I'm kind of hopeful for this one. I'm not going to lie. This one seems interesting. I'm guessing bad rank, high value. So this is bittersweet, you guys. It's kind of painful, actually. I kind of hate to see this because I hate being on the fence. I like for the decision to be very, very clear. I like it to be a hard yes or a hard no. And this is very much a maybe. In fact, I can tell you right now, I'm going to list this. I shouldn't say it's a maybe, but it's a very tepid maybe. So no rank. Here we are again. A book who has never sold a single copy on Amazon. But I'll give you a lesson here. There's only 2 copies for sale. So there's also very limited supply. And oftentimes what will happen is a book will have no rank, I mean, it's never sold. And it's not because nobody wants the book. It's because nobody's willing to pay what the current prices are. So what I'll do in this situation, when there's a couple copies for sale, the rank is still 0, I will come in and drop the price by like 50% or more, which normally I would consider this an egregious crime against against the universe, against all other Amazon sellers. You should never ever, I shouldn't say never, but it's obviously never because I'm about to do it, but like rarely should you ever drop prices in a desperate move to sell an item. However, in this instance, the market is telling us something. The market is saying, hey, we're not willing to pay $250 for this book. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to list this at $99.99. That's over half off. But I think I'm vindicating that decision because, hey, this book it's just the market speaking and it's saying, hey, we're not willing to pay $250. And this is one I think I'm the most hopeful for of this entire stack. Can you guess why? Look at the subject matter. Look at the title. Take it in for a second. This is a book, first of all, no barcode. Number two, the subject matter is just so niche. I would expect there is a small group of people out there that really, really need the content of this book, and there is no other substitute for it in the world. So that's usually a recipe for some high dollar amounts. Next up, a criminology textbook. Sixth edition. It's just called Criminology by Larry Siegel, about as basic as it gets. It's published by Pearson, so high chance this is restricted, but let's see what we got. And kind of interesting. I'm suspecting this is actually a custom edition. The sales rank is 0, indicating it's never sold, which is virtually impossible for a textbook from a large publisher. So I'm looking at this here, looking for any indication it's one of those custom editions published specifically for a school, and I don't see any indication that's the case. So tell you what, I don't want this video to be very long. What I would normally do in this situation is I would run this manually through Amazon and start combing through the results and looking for a different product page. In other words, a product page that's associated with a different ISBN or no ISBN on an ASIN or whatever. I suspect if we poked around Amazon, we will find a product page for this book that is somehow not connected to this ISBN because it's just not coming up in Scan Lister, at least as anything. So tentatively, we're going to call that dud. Next up, book called Handmade Houses, A Guide to the Wood Butcher's Art. It's just specialized enough that it caught my interest, and I'm hopeful for this one. So let's see. Okay, I'm continuously impressed with this collection of trash that we have gathered together. Lowest merchant fulfilled price $11.54. Lowest FBA $17.50. Sales rank is 335,000. So based on that, I'm just going to match the lowest FBA. Maybe even go second. I might go $18.99 on this one actually. Looking at the rank, I'll check the history later, but based on that, we got some profit. So let's just assume worst case scenario, we're going to profit with this one, $9.30. Next up, looks like another book in the same series. This one's called Rolling Homes. Handmade Houses on Wheels. Definitely weird enough that this caught my interest. So I'm hopeful for this one as well. Again, I had no hopes for this dumpster haul, you guys. $16.40 is the lowest merch fulfilled price. The sales rank is 1.3 million. I might even do lowest FBA on this one, so which is going to be $18.12. So let's just go ahead and assume that, which brings us a profit of $9.82 on Homes on Wheels. Okay, that brings us to what is almost definitely going to be the lowest demand books in our haul here. So we've got a collection, there's 3 of them, called Kith and Kin, Boone County, West Virginia, which appears to be some kind of genealogy book, specifically a series of books specifically about, again, Boone County, West Virginia. So again, the audience for this book presumably does not exist outside of this county in West Virginia. I would imagine very, very, very few people want these books. These are actually, I mean, to call them books is being generous. They're photocopied documents that are stapled together. And there's no cover art, and inside, I can't even decipher what I'm looking at here, but it's nothing that would be terribly relevant to anyone outside of Boone County. So no ISBN, of course, so I have to run these manually. So let's do the search together and see what we find. I'm typing with one hand here. Kith and Kin, Boone County. All right, what do we got? First of all, we'll filter by books. And okay, so it looks like we have, so the volumes that we have here are volume 11, volume 12, and volume 5. It looks like there's product pages for volume, what is that, 19 and volume 10 that I'm looking at here on the Amazon page. And as we scroll down, I'm not seeing anything that I think is related. There's lots of books called Kith and Kin, but I'm not sure any of these are actually part of this. So we could go deeper if we wanted to. There may be some product pages buried deeper, but it looks like there's only 2 product pages right now. So here's what I anticipated. I anticipated going into this that
if we wanted to list these, we would have to create product pages for them. And it looks like but let's check out these existing product pages for other titles in this series and see what they reveal. So no copies available for volume 10 and no sales rank. Pretty much as expected. Let's check out the first one. No product image, which I don't like, but there is an offer for sale for, what is this, volume 19 for $35. Again, no sales rank. Okay, so how do we feel about this? Not great. I'm looking at this like there's going to be a lot of effort, a lot of calories I'm going to have to burn to create product pages for these. Um, the two existing books in this series that are on Amazon have never sold a single copy. I don't like that. So when I weigh the effort to potential yield ratio, it's not really coming out in favor of me listing these books. So what I'm probably going to do, I'm not going to throw these away. I never send a book back to the dumpster, although I've made jokes. I'll find these a home one way or another. I usually take, if the quantities are small, there's like what's called a little free library near where I live. So it's like a box on a pole, and people leave books and they take books. So I'm going to leave these there, and hopefully someone from Boone will wander by and get reacquainted with their history. Okay, this is a tearful conclusion. We're not done yet. We've got one more book. Pretty hopeful for this one. But again, I can't say it enough. I'm incredibly impressed with how much potential profit we stand to make from this very small dumpster haul that was done completely on a whim. So hopefully you got some lessons out of this. But let's do one more together. So this is it's a book called Reading Street, also from Pearson. It's a grade school textbook. I love grade school. And one of the reasons I love grade school textbooks is they tend to have a shelf life longer than your average textbook. In other words, a grade school textbook will be relevant for a decade or more oftentimes, whereas a college textbook, that's not as common. Amazing. No merchant fulfilled value, but the rank is just good enough that I don't even care. We're going with FBA on this one, $19.80. It's a big book, so the profit's going to be small. $7. First of all, let's take stock of how much profit we've made. And by we, I mean me, but if I say we, it sounds like you get a cut. Okay, I'm really surprised at how all this shook out, so let's go ahead and do a final tally. By the way, one of my only grievances with ScanLister, and I bet I'm doing something wrong here, but I cannot find the setting so that it shows your net profit as you go. So the only way I know how to do that is the only way I've ever seen it is that it does it when you go to complete the shipment. So I'm probably doing something wrong. But anyway, as far as I know how to do this, we have to go over here. So we go ahead, let's do a final tally on our net profit, expected net profit, and we can add $1 to each of these because of the buy cost is free. So I'm going to do some super rough math. I'm going to round up and down a little bit. So this will go to, let's say, $10, $8. Now we're at 18. 23, and round down to 8. It's 31, 39. We're going to skip this one because it has no rank. So 39 plus 6 is 45, plus 5 is 50. So this is about $50. Now, this will just be gravy, this $85 book. Again, there's no rank. I'm not really expecting this to sell, to be totally honest. I can see myself disposing of it after 6 or 12 months. But as for the rest of these, I think it's absolutely realistic that we will get somewhere in range of the profits we see here. It's $50. And again, I don't know if it was clear, but when I was filming that dumpster diving footage, that was I might edit a little bit out, but that was basically raw footage. So, we're talking 7-8 minutes, $50. Better than being at a stupid party at a hotel across the street, right? Thank you guys for sharing this with me. Hope you got a little bit of value out of this, even if it was just voyeuristic, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.